Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Envoy of Kairos, back for another episode of Terraria. And we've only got two more things to build. My armory and my personal house. But there is something I need to do before I can complete that armory. Now, first of all, one slight issue I ran into was I was doing some farming between episodes trying to complete the bestiary so I could get my hands on the final pylon, which can go literally anywhere instead of specific biomes and towns. It doesn't even need NPCs nearby to work. Problem is, completing the bestiary requires killing 50, or at least usually around 50, of every animal, or every monster in the game. And there's a couple that stop spawning when you go into hard mode, and I didn't kill enough of them before. So now it's literally impossible for me to complete the bestiary. And my options came down to, I essentially had to spawn one in with a character that already completed it on a separate world file. So, bit of a pain in the ass, but it worked overall. I also had to farm a ton of bosses to get their trophies, but there's a few I haven't done on camera yet. So we're going to deal with those first. And in order to make sure I have the firepower to do it, I went out of my way to craft the strongest weapon in the game. This is the Zenith. A sword made of all of the strongest swords in the game, and for some reason the copper short sword, all collaborating into this full-screen ranged melee monstrosity capable of absolutely obliterating anything and everything. And of course, I upgraded it to Legendary. I also combined some of my equipment to increase my defensive stats by a lot and get a ton of other buffs in the process. I'm pretty busted right now. So, how am I going to show off this ability? Well, I'm going to start by turning off God mode so you can see it at its absolute best. I'm also going to change my armor so I can use the set that is actually most effective with this weapon. And then I'll just research this one so I have an infinite supply of it for later. Now, it's time we summon in the raid that absolutely destroyed me before. Let's fucking go. The Etherean raid is pretty damn tough if you try to do it at specific times because its stats buff significantly depending on what point in the game you're at. And trying to do so soon after coming into hard mode had me screwed off the bat because I was not prepared to fight all of that. Now, at the very end of hard mode with endgame equipment ready, oh yeah, this is gonna be easy now. And now taking advantage of the mechanic that was originally designed for this raid. Picking up the Etherean essence that these guys drop, I can drop these turrets that will attack my enemies for me and pile on to the damage I do. And they persist all the way to the end of the raid. And I just realized I haven't turned off God mode, not that it really matters, because I haven't taken any damage. And we're down to Wave 7. This is the finale, and here's the boss, Betsy. She can hit pretty hard. The only real threat out of this whole thing. But I think I'm a much bigger threat. And once you manage to slay Betsy, the crystal handles the rest and wipes them all out. Sadly, the turrets disappear. So you can't just farm this by infinitely cycling turrets and collecting enough mana to just fill the entire arena with a stupid number of them. Well, before I go ahead and farm that event more, there's one other thing that I need to beat on screen, and then I'll need to farm that as well. And that is the remaining slime boss, because there's not just the king slime, there's the queen slime as well, and she's a lot more of a threat. So let's see how fast I can demolish her. Rather quickly with the Zenith, it appears. I think I'll turn God mode on real quick and just avoid attacking her for a few so you guys can see more of her moves. Got that powerful drop attack with a blast radius. Impact damage on her is generally worse, and her movement is a lot faster than the King's. Seriously, a lot faster. That alone makes her a significantly bigger threat. And then, of course, she's got this bouncing bubble attack, and those things just explode on impact with you. They do a surprising amount of damage, but they are also rather slow attacks, so if you're good at the game, you can dodge them relatively well. And I'm just going to take her down past half health real quick, and in her second phase, she spawns wings. And she spawns extra slimes that, yeah, these crystal slimes fire spikes. A lot of them. And what do you know, I got her to drop her trophy already. Although I still need more of her treasure bags, so I'm going to kill a third yet. Our final builds have arrived. It is now time to work on our armory and trophy room. I did state them as separate goals at the start of this series, but I'm actually making them a single construct in which the trophy room will be at the center and the armory will be within the wings of the same building. Should be quite the striking design. I've done some similar things in the past when some of the materials I've planned to use for this didn't exist yet, like the star blocks. So, I can't wait to see how this one turns out. It's going to be a considerably large build, especially compared to everything else we have so far. A single construct that takes about as long as an entire town to make. But, in the end, it's going to be a gorgeous piece that I'm going to be incredibly proud of. I can already tell that much just with what I've got in my head. The centerpiece of the whole thing is going to turn out to be another massive tree because I plan to stick a pylon right in the middle of the trophy room. That will be the universal pylon, which doesn't require any nearby NPCs and can be placed literally anywhere. Then, the tree, of course, will be the most magnificent one I've made, by far. It will contain separate baubles and spheres decorated separately for the different biomes and sceneries relevant to the bosses whose relics I'll be placing in them. The relics will be accompanied by chests containing all of the loot that their treasure boxes drop. Or not treasure boxes, treasure bags. End result, we're going to have a very large trophy room designed to contain 28 trophies. It's gonna be quite the project, but it'll be worth it considering how it's gonna turn out. Okay, so here we have the completed trophy room. Every relic for every boss is here. I got both the slimes down here on the ground level. Beneath the floor, I've got both of the early biome bosses and the Wall of Flesh. Duke Fish Run down here. I've got both of the Halloween bosses tucked over here, and the 3 Christmas bosses enclosed in giant Christmas tree balls. The 2 invasion bosses right here. And then up in the branches, we have Deerclops, all 3 of the mechanical bosses, Skeletron, the Golem. We got Plantera down there in the middle of the tree. Got a Lunatic Cultist. Over here we got Queen Bee, Empress of Light, the 3 Therian bosses, Eye of Cthulhu down there. And lastly, all the way at the top, we have the Moon Lord with the monoliths that trigger the background effects of all 4 of the pillars. Overall, it makes for a pretty striking design, and I just love how it turned out. We've just got a little of everything here. And the shimmering star background definitely adds to it. It just gives this whole thing a very spectral and mystical air to it. It makes this place feel sacred in a way. Especially with the giant living wood tree latticed with crystals spiraled through it. But now that the central trophy room is done, my next move is I need to build the armory around it. Wings on each side that will contain all of the armor in the game. It's going to make for quite the build by the time it's done, and it's going to take me a while to do. But first, I'm just going to get all the foundations for it done, including the wings on both sides and their full length, as well as the extra floors. And I'll probably build some artificial sky islands holding up the ends of it to complete the design. So, let's get into that.